Hello, my name is Sadie Ornelas, and today I will be presenting a proposal for the legalization of marijuana in the state of New Mexico. To begin my presentation, I would like to share a quote with you. Without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. Many people have very strong opinions regarding marijuana and are opposed to its legalization. But I believe that legalization will allow New Mexico to progress in many aspects. If people would be willing to deviate from the negative ideals of marijuana and take into account the numerous benefits brought about by its legalization, they could overcome their opposition to the drug in favor of its positive outcomes. Current policies in New Mexico allow only patients who qualify for medical marijuana to possess and use the drug. Use and possession of marijuana for non-medical purposes is illegal and punishable by fines and jail time. While New Mexico is still punishing people for these minor crimes, other states have chosen to instead legalize the recreational use of the drug. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska have all chosen to decriminalize it. Each state allows its citizens over the age of 21 to possess up to 1 ounce of usable marijuana, and 3 of the states allow people to grow limited amounts of their own cannabis plants. On February 12th of 2015, the Senate Rules Committee in Santa Fe voted in favor of Senate Joint Resolution 2. This would allow persons over the age of 21 to possess and use marijuana recreationally, as well as the sale, taxation, and regulation of marijuana in the state of New Mexico. This resolution passing through the Legislative Committee is the first step to putting the issue on the 2016 New Mexico ballot. Soon, New Mexico voters will be deciding for themselves if this is what they want for the state. I have designed a 3-step plan that will lead to the legalization of marijuana in New Mexico. The plan begins with the 2016 ballot and ends with a smooth transition to the state's application of the new policies. The first step is to educate voters on the legalization of marijuana and its effects. This is perhaps the most important step of the plan. Without the majority of votes for legalization, our plan cannot progress to the next step. The purpose of this step is to demonstrate to voters that the legalization of marijuana offers more benefits than risks. While we inform them of the many benefits, we must also acknowledge the problems we may be faced with if the drug is legalized. While this may seem counterproductive, it is important that the voters understand all aspects of the situation, and it also establishes trustworthiness, as we are admitting there are some flaws to the plan. To counter these negative effects, we must offer solutions. This will quell people's concerns and help them to focus on the benefits of legalization. After achieving a majority vote for the legalization of marijuana, we can move on to step 2. This step involves reevaluating current policies regarding the use, possession, and sale of marijuana. The purpose of assessing these policies is to determine which policies will no longer be applicable after marijuana is legalized, and either eliminating or revising them. It will also be necessary to draw up new policies that govern the sale, taxation, use, and possession of marijuana in New Mexico. While making new policies, it would be helpful to look at other states' policies regarding marijuana and examine the after effects. Using this information, we can create effective new policies for the state. After drawing up these new policies, the next step is putting them into action. While by this time, most residents will be aware of the changes, it is still important to inform them of the new policies. It will also be necessary to educate law enforcement on these policy changes and how certain situations, such as a suspected marijuana DUI, should be handled. The state will also need to start up a regulatory system for recreational marijuana to govern the way it is grown, distributed, and sold. The government will also need to begin licensing vendors and growers so that the sale of the drug can begin. To conclude the project plan, I would like to discuss its costs and benefits. The costs have been broken down into 4 sections, the first being the cost to set up and maintain a regulatory system. Around $1 million would be required to form the system, and around $3.2 million annually would be necessary to keep it running. The Department of Agriculture would likely need $100,000 annually to regulate marijuana-infused products. The next set of costs are related to the licensing department that will be required. It will cost around $200,000 annually to maintain a licensing department for marijuana growers and vendors. The final monetary cost comes from law enforcement training. Police and detectives will require additional training to deal with new situations that may arise with the legalization of marijuana, such as marijuana-related DUIs. This will cost about $400,000 annually. I included an increase in DUIs as a cost. There is a real possibility that New Mexico may see an increase in marijuana-related DUIs. Although it may not be a monetary cost, it is a cost to the state and its residents nonetheless. Now we move on to the benefits of the plan. Increased revenue is perhaps the largest benefit New Mexico will see. Through taxation on the sale of marijuana, New Mexico could see up to a $60 million increase in state revenue in its first year of legalization. Not only is this a huge increase that could be extremely useful to the state, but there is also a chance that this number could go up in the coming years. As you can see in this chart, marijuana sales are expected to increase as demand goes up. This means an even greater revenue for the state in the future. Legalization also offers law enforcement some benefits. It is predicted that the police department will save $10 to $40 million a year. This would be due to the fact that police will no longer have to charge people for minor cases of marijuana possession. This would not only save the department about $300 per case, but also valuable time to focus on more serious crimes. Another benefit is a surge of new businesses. Legalizing marijuana would ensure an influx of new businesses in New Mexico, which will be helpful to the state's economy and offer many new employment opportunities. The last major benefit to consider is the reduction in crime. Colorado experienced an 11.1% decrease in property crime and a 6.9% decrease in violent crime after the legalization of the drug. Some attribute this to people choosing marijuana over alcohol, which has a reputation for causing violent behavior. In conclusion, the legalization of marijuana is the optimal choice for New Mexico. The benefits of the plan substantially outweigh the cost. The increased revenue alone covers all costs, with plenty left to spare, not to mention the money that will be saved by the police department. New businesses will bring about a better economy and job opportunities for the unemployed. Although there may be an increase in DUIs, we are also looking at a notable drop in other crimes. The negative image surrounding this drug must be overcome. It is time we recognize the many advantages marijuana can generate in New Mexico. Please feel free to contact me for further information, and thank you for your time and consideration.